Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 590 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host, as always, I'm Tyler, and join me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. It's always weird when we do these back-to-back recordings because, I always "What's up, buddy?" But it's like, this is our second show. We already know what we're up to. We're here for a specific reason. Uh, Gables, how you feeling, buddy? We are halfway through our game of the year. How are we feeling so
Oh my
far?
God. So far, so far it just feels like it's gone through pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's gone through pretty quickly and stuff. There were really not too many like big surprises or something, in terms of like our lists immediately, other than the fact that I thought that Spider-Man 2 was going to be a little bit higher in your list than like where it was. But yeah, man, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I can't believe you spoiled in the last one that the Destiny 2 expansion was your game of the year. It's too bad you spoiled that for everybody.
Oh, shit, dude.
uh, no, sorry. Anyways, Gables and I are here. If you missed or you just hopping in here, Gables and I are doing our top 10 list of the for best games to come out in 2023. This is part two. Last week we did part one. It's only been a few minutes for us, but it's been about a week for you guys. So if you guys want to check out uh, part one, go back, check it out. Go, follow, subscribe to wherever you're listening to us at on whether it's on Apple, Spotify, any podcast service. We're on all of them. YouTube, follow, subscribe, please there. Click the bell, all that fun stuff. But Gables and I, we just two guys that get together every week. Have a couple beers and we talk about video games and everything we love about them. And this time of year, it's my favorite podcast session we do every year, where we rank our top 10 games of the year. These aren't necessarily like the 10 best games we played. It's just our 10 favorite games we played this year. Um,
Yes.
so we're not going to give out review scores and all that shit. Sometimes it's just vibes, baby. It's all it is. You know, as Gables likes to remind us all the time, we're in our mid 30s now. Right now, we've been doing this for over a decade now. We're almost 600 episodes. Right now, it's just about vibes. All right, we're just vibing, trying to have a
Hmm.
good time and not feel old. There's a hair on my goddamn glasses because my dog came over and it's driving me
Oh, God.
goddamn nuts. It's
I
got
know, it's been a hair that's been trying to come through my freaking
ah.
eye this fast.
Anyway, we're fucking nerds with glasses. But anyways, um, I'm dealing with the cold still, so I will do my best to not cough, sneeze, blow my nose, all that fun sniffles, heavy breathing into the microphone throughout the show. I will do my best, but I can't promise anything. But I will go through real fast. So if you don't want to know what our 10 through 6 was, go back and listen to last week's about because I'm going to go through and give a little fresh reminder to everybody joining us again. So Gable so far, number 10, Advance Wars Reboot Camp. Number 9, AEW Fight Forever. Number 8, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, Teal Mask, and Indigo Disc. Number 7, F-Zero 99. Number 6, Resident Evil 4. Mine, 10 through 6 so far. Number 10, Cocoon. Number 9, Dead Space. Number 8, Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Number 7, Alan Wake 2. And number 6, Spider-Man 2. So that is um, our 10 through 6 so far. So we're going to do kind of the idea right now is we're going to do 5, then 4. Gables and I, we don't know our list. It's all surprises to us.
Hmm.
We're going to do 5, 4. And then before we do 3, we'll do honorable mentions. And then we'll do 3, 2, 1. So that's kind of how we always do it. So we're going to do it again this year. So Gables and I, we've been doing this since 2013. So it's pretty fun doing
Hmm.
this every year. So Gables, sticking with tradition, buddy, I'm going to have you go with number 5.
All right, so Super Mario RPG, the remake of that, is my number five game of the year.
I lost my pen.
It's but yeah, man, this game I thought was better than the original in terms of not only the different type of looks, the different type of styles and stuff, but also the way that it fixed certain problems that the original game had and made it even better. Like, for example, the thing about frog coins. Frog coins in the original game you could not get a very lot of because there were sometimes you would try to go forth and try to beat some enemies, but it would take a hell of a long time in order just to acquire a couple, especially if you wanted to get a few items from like the merchants over by that that little frog like tadpole pond stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. But now you have the random chance with when you're facing off like in turn-based battles and stuff to encounter stronger enemies that will drop frog coins and stuff. It's like a random type of thing. So sometimes you may come across like a stronger opponent than normal. That way you can earn frog coins that way. I thought that it definitely made the experience a lot more interesting because you never knew exactly when you were going to get that certain type of added bonus to this stuff. Granted, this is a game that I've been playing over and over again and stuff for the past like 20 some odd years or plus. And of course, Super Mario RPG I'm fairly familiar with in terms of playing it to the Super Nintendo, the Virtual Console, and all that other stuff. But I love the change they did to it. I love the graphical rehaul in terms of how it looks. Going back to playing as characters, so like with Gino, with Mallow, with friggin' like Bowser and stuff, and finding some of the best weapons, the best like set of weapons you can for each character was really fun. Going through the set like scenarios and stuff like, oh okay, we're gonna be fighting off against the Smithy gang and stuff. Like the different types of boss battles, the one with Yardavik and then the one with like Spiritovich or something like that, where basically that boss is it's like shooting arrows or something like that, and it's hitting the toads inside the random town and stuff and just freezing them in place. And so you have to try to go through like the forest and stuff in order to navigate the maze and stuff in order to get to him and then try to beat him and doing that type of do that type of stuff alongside Gino and stuff. But yeah, just a revisiting of a classic game that I felt like was done better than like the original release. I love the fact that you could actually cycle through the original musical soundtrack alongside the remastered. I never once actually went through like the classic ones and stuff, only because I've listened to that soundtrack so many different times throughout the years that seeing the remastered ones was pretty fun. Absolutely pretty fun. The gameplay experience of itself was generally easy, but there were parts that did kind of spike up, especially towards like the beginning parts of the game. I felt that were kind of a little bit like more difficult because I was trying to remember different portions of the game, like how like I did play it, and then trying to figure out certain aspects of some things that had changed, but try to do like a work around it and stuff in some aspects. But mostly it's mostly just like the same Super Mario RPG that I grew up and played all that time ago, only that there's new bells and whistles. There's definitely some added fixes because games back in the day didn't have like downloads of like updates or whatever the hell. But that entire playthrough felt fun. It felt new. It felt like something that I had yet to, you know, like adventure fully and stuff. And so with that, I felt like that this is the number 5 game of the year for me.
All right. Well, very cool, Gables. I totally forgot you played that game. I laughed myself when I wrote it down, Gables. Um, I wrote down Mario RGP, and I'm just gonna leave it. this is it's it's almost 2 in the morning. I got a fever. I don't have any cowbell. My voice is slowly fading more and more. It's just gonna go there forever in my notebook. But Gables, man, this is where it really started to hurt, Gables. I started making some tough calls. Throughout the whole list, you're making tough calls. But
Yes.
I have very little, if any, complaints about the rest of these games here for my top five. And oh man, top. I don't even want to. Okay, number five, Gables. It hurts to even say it. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. God damn it. I fucking I can't believe it, Gables. Like I I really was like so disappointed in Fallen Order. I thought it was still a good game. I thought it was like a solid like 7.5. I remember I played the game at
Right.
launch. It was buggy and broken. I went back and I played it earlier this year. Still thought it was like a solid 7.5 game. Even all these finally fixed and everything running, frame rates fine, all that, no falling through worlds and shit. I thought the combat was just okay. I thought the little different areas you go to kind of it was just the generic. Hey, here's the jungle level. Here's the level on the lava planet. Here's the ice level. It was just like every generic thing we've ever seen from every Star Wars thing ever. And it's like I've been telling myself, Gables, for years that I just don't love Star Wars anymore. I don't care about Star Wars anymore. I don't. It doesn't bother me anymore. I don't get triggered by it uh, like I used to. Um, and then this goddamn masterpiece comes out, Jedi Survivor, and I'm like, God damn it! I just want to hate you, and you do every. This game does everything to make me love them again, Gables, and it hurts so bad because I just don't want to care anymore about him. It's just like it's just like a breakup where it's like I just don't want to think about you anymore. But then they just keep pop back up, and that's what Star Wars is to me. But anyways, I man, like I always thought the first game they nailed. I thought the characters and the story with Cal Kestis, his story of being a Jedi that was like survived Order 66. It takes place between 3 and 4, and then like him like getting back the powers like throughout the game of the Force. Then meeting characters along the way like Greasy Money, my boy Greasy, and then Morin, I believe her name is, and like your Jedi Master, all of them. Like I was like, man, this was that they nailed that, and it was just like we just gotta make everything else around it better, and they built upon this game in more ways than one. Where every ability that you got by the end of the first game, you just start off with this. What sucked was like some of the best things like the double jump and be able to like climb like faster, and like wall run were like things like some of the best parts of that game were like added in the second half. And it's like if this was here from the beginning, I would have loved this game way more. But like anyways, you just start off with a little shit, and they just build and add upon it, like the hook shot. They like just getting around, like they give you new abilities and shit that you can do. That just make it so much fun to like. Actually, now I want to explore and I want to do these things. Um, and man, like the getting the gang back together. So it's 5 years later, and it's kind of like Mass Effect 2, where it's like it's 5 years later. Cal is off doing his own thing, still trying to take down the Empire, but he's finally getting he's got like a different team, but the original team is like broken up, and it's getting them all back together. Like the Mass Effect 2, getting the gang back together for this big mission, but also it's like you're adding new characters on the way. But it's also like just finding out about like what have they been doing in the last 5 years, like learning more about them, and then the idea of like Cal dealing with like trying to be this perfect Jedi in a world where like Jedi's essentially don't exist anymore, and it's like the Jedi way basically is what also led to the downfall of the Jedi in like the original prequel trilogy and all that. And honestly a better way than what the prequels ever did, uh, in a lot of ways. But like, yeah, I just loved him dealing with that and like dealing with like is like you can't feel love. You're not supposed to attachment to people, friends, all that. Like it's just like him dealing with all these and like also dealing with like going to the dark side throughout the entire game. Like I love that. Some of the moments in this game are fucking awesome. I enjoy the like all the worlds are so much better. Like they're actually like feel like real environments. Like you go on like all the planets you go on to, like they're not just like I said, the jungle planet, the ice planet, the volcano planet. Like there's like a whole planet that's like a spaceship in the sky. There's a whole like another planet that's like in a swamp like area, but like all this other shit's like
Right.
sinking into the swamp. And then but there's like also on top of it, there's like a whole village. And like these, like each world is fucking huge and like I'm not saying it's like Far Cry massive, but like there's so much stuff in it where like then you find like there's caves and whole other like then you can actually like later on you like realize there's levels to the shit, like literal levels to the shit. Like as you like are able to explore and unlock new abilities. Just going around, like I said, I want to explore. I want to find more things. Like doing finding like the people like the bounties, the bounty hunters, and having those fights were fucking awesome. I love those. Um, just completely blown away by Jedi Survivor. I can't wait. I hope we get a third one. It sounds like we're getting a third one. The way they end it, spoiler, sounds like we're getting a third one. But man, it's like in a world where like we're not getting Uncharted games anymore. I really feel like Respawn has taken the Uncharted mantle with a Star Wars Jedi series. So man, I
Damn.
fucking yeah adore this game. 10 out of 10. Gables, what's your number 4, buddy?
All right, so number 4 is going to be Metroid Prime Remastered.
Okay.
Oh man, let me tell you some. I did love playing the original Metroid Prime way back when Nintendo did that stealth drop and announced that announcement of stealth drop this past year for Metroid Prime Remastered and stuff. You know, I already love the game, but after experiencing like the different control style from what you could do in comparison to the original, you had this tank control sort of like option to where you'd hold down like the R button, like say on a GameCube controller like this, and then you just had to like just hold down the R button and then just try to manually go through and do the analog stick, do everything. it was before twin stick shooting and stuff like that was standardized for console games, for shooters and stuff like that. But what I do love about this game though is just like the different types of control styles you can do. You could potentially just do with the original style, or you could do like how you do with modern first person shooters, or you could do with Joy Cons and stuff like you would on the Wii like trilogy and stuff that was available for like on the Wii and stuff like that for all that time ago. But you had different types of options. The game in and of itself was remastered, like remade to where it felt like a remake to it. The graphics were overhauled a bit for it. I mean, the whole aspects of like the different lockables were kind of different in that regards. But the original Metroid Prime, fantastic game. It's absolutely one of the best games to play on the GameCube. But the reason why it's number 4 on my game of the year list is because there was enough changes I felt like to where this feels like an entirely different experience now because things became easier to kind of process. Things became sort of better in terms of the quality of how I was controlling Samus in terms of exploring different durations, actually wanting to go back and getting all those different missile tank expansions, all the different like energy tank things, because that's exactly what I did. I went through and I found every single missile, every single like expansions, every single like energy thing, like energy like stuff. And I went through Metroid Prime and did something that I'd never done, and that's completely beat this game without the need of any type of action replay or Game Shark or anything of that sort. But the battles against Meta Ridley, the battles against like the Omega Pirate and stuff, and also against like the whole Metroid Prime stuff, the shifting final battle and stuff, to where you have to like literally would like switch between different types of visors from like the X-ray, the thermal visors and stuff, and then try to do some scanning, try to make sure you can scan the boss and make sure what you're hitting is actually what you're hitting and not just trying to guess all this other shit and stuff. Fantastic action game. It is a fantastic first-person shooter, even though it's kind of hilarious back in the day they tried calling it a first-person adventure. But
Sounds like
that still
Nintendo.
makes me that was fucking let's just say that hardcore Nintendo fans back in the day, that was their excuse for not calling it a first person shooter, but just calling it something else other than a first person shooter. But yeah, this is one of the best first person shooters that I felt like has ever been released, not just on Nintendo consoles, just in general. But dude, people owe it upon themselves to try out this remaster, this remake of the original Metroid Prime because this is what happens when you have a studio like Retro Studios at the helm. Entirely, they entirely created this game like from scratch and stuff because of like the whole aspect of the Metroid franchise. After the success of like Super Metroid, what's going to be their take in terms of like the original Metroid? Or yeah, it's a continuation of it. And this is what they came up with, and it's still a fantastic experience from beginning to end. All these years later, it's now more modernized. It's definitely better in terms of its original, and that's just the theme that's been going on this year. Since there's been so many great games, there's been, I would think, a lot of great remastered, if not great like remakes come that have came out this year that kind of blow their originals like out of the water, like say with Dead Space, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario RPG is the one I was just talking about, but Metroid Prime is definitely on that example too, to where this is one of those type of games where if you're a gamer, if you have a Switch, get this game. It is freaking phenomenal. But yeah, that is my number 4.
All right. Uh, well, my number four, Gables.
Yeah.
It's Resident Evil 4. Um, yeah.
Hey.
God damn it, man. I hate this list. I fucking hate doing game. Why do I enjoy doing this? It just hurts so bad. I just hurt myself. I love it, man. Like, if you've listened to the show long enough, Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. The original game was. I've told the story a million times about. It was the first game I ever bought with my own money. When I was, I think, was it 2004 05 when that game came out, Gables. So I would have been.
Mhm.
I wasn't. I
Yep.
wasn't. I think it was like January. It was right after Christmas. So I remember. So I wasn't even quite 16 years old yet, and like have like got Christmas money, and like having to hold the money as like a kid with no money for 2 weeks to then buy this game, and then like back then it was like a game say came out like January 10th. Didn't mean it was gonna be on the store on January 10th. It was gonna could be sometimes it's the 9th, sometimes it's the 11th, sometimes it's the 12th. You never know. And I
True.
remember my dad like when I was at school like calling for me like I remember him just being off because in the winter he didn't get to work a lot because he's a truck driver, and like him calling GameStop every day and asking for Residential Evil, him like, but
Residential
yeah, but like
evil.
I had just enough money to get the actual game, and I remember it finally came out and coming home, because like he called multiple days in a row for me, even after it was supposed to come out, and finally got it for me, and then he surprised me with the guidebook. He bought me the guidebook and everything like that, and I have like a little Ada wall. I have like the steel bookcase. I still have it at my parents' house. I couldn't find it. I tried to find it again recently and I couldn't find it. It has like a little Ada Wong, like little tiny figure that was in the case. Like it's still in the packaging and stuff.
Oh, oh
But
wow.
yeah, like play like I've talked about like back then, especially like it's not like growing up. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, so like having a game that wasn't coming for your birthday or Christmas was a big deal, or like money you saved from doing like mowing the lawn and shit. But like so back then, like just play the like a lot of kids like our age or and older like you just play the same game over and over again. And like I've talked about like
Yeah.
this and Metal Gear Solid 1 are like the most played through games ever for me. Where like I've told the story, like I said, I've told the story a million times about this game where I played the game so many times that I maxed out everything, every other weapon in the game, and I got to the point where it was like $1 million in-game dollars for the infinite rocket launcher, and I played the game through enough times that I finally like had enough money to buy it, and I played the game one more time through with only using the infinite rocket launcher. And I remember like one-shotting every boss, one-shotting like killing everybody in the village, and like that was like and that was the last time I ever played through the game. Was after that, and I just yeah, it's and like I've always talked about like I'm not like this person like don't touch the story. This stuff has to be in here. Like I'm not like that. But I am precious to this. Like I don't want like I just don't fuck it up. Like, and I had faith in Capcom that like they have proven time and time again that like I'm not like I wasn't a huge like really like 4 was the first Resident Evil game I really got into. I really didn't get into another one again until like I liked 5, 6 was awful. It wasn't really until 8 that I got into it really hardcore again. Well, I guess remakes I really liked the 2 and 3, but anyways, rambling. But like I just like man just like don't ruin this for me. Like there's a lot of childhood in this game to me, and like just don't fuck it up. And they didn't fuck it up, Gables. They actually made it better. They made like they didn't ruin the OG, and then they didn't, but they also made it so much fucking better. And just like what they did to this, like they totally, like they added so much content to it. Like Louise was like a great character that's memorable, and it's a very memorable scene with like fight like defending the house. But like that was really the only moment you don't have a lot of moments with him in the original game, and then like building upon him this whole part in like the mine cart, and like underground and stuff in the caves and all that, like adding so much more to his character. They even cut out like a whole boss fight from the original game, but it's like doesn't really matter in the end. But like they did such a great job of like so many of the moments, like the village fight, obviously one of the greatest moments in video game history was that opening village fight, and like it's just as good, if not better, than it was before. Like you set the bowl on
Yes.
fire and like run through and take out a bunch of the zombies for you. Like I said, defending the house is as epic as like you remember it being. Um, like all the boss fights, like with Krauser, was like I was like, how is that gonna work with like Krauser? Like back then, QT was all the rage, and it's like, man, if I see QT nowadays, I'm gonna fucking rage. And now it's like, they had Del Lago, obviously on the boat. Like, man, they built that up so much more in this game. Like, but also like just like how much they added to like the the world stuff, like adding like the side missions you can do in the game were fun. Like obviously bringing back the merchant was important as well. Loved him. But getting like this, having the cheese. their game. Like we always talk about, like there's that 80s cheese that just can never be matched again. No matter what you
Right.
do, it'll just never be the same. And there's like something about like 90s and early 2000s cheese in video games, especially in the early days of voice acting, that so hard to hit. And I don't think it's done well sometimes, but very rarely.
Yes.
And this game does a great job of balancing the more seriousness of the new Resident Evil, but like also like, we're past the days of the Jill sandwich and where's Barry. We're past those days, but they did such a great job of like incorporating, like with like Leon when he gets on with the village fight. And he's like, "Where'd everybody go? Bingo!" And like they do such a great like of balancing all of the dumb shit that we loved about RE4. Like they're aware of it and they go with it, and like that's great. 'Cause sometimes like companies get a little too precious with it, and like they thought that ruled 20 years ago. But like really, no, we're laughing at it, but like we're laughing at it like, and like, oh no, we're laughing at it too, but we're laughing at it with you, and that's awesome. It's like they're not mad that we're laughing at it, type of thing, and they went with it, and it's so great. Like I said, like the adding more with Luis, Ashley being an actual like good character this time instead of just like the damsel in distress, is really good. The whole section with her in the castle where you have to play as her, legitimately fucking terrifying and like really good. Um, the combat, obviously, they fucking nailed it. I imagine when people played Final Fantasy VII Remake, the huge Final Fantasy VII dorks out there that played Remake probably marked out like the way they marked out for Remake is the way I'm probably marked out for Resident Evil 4 Remake. So yeah, I mean, I love that. I love this game. Uh, Fuck man, like if you haven't played this game, like even if you don't have that love for RE4 like we did, or like especially me, um, it's just a great game. Just fucking play the goddamn game. But yeah, that is my number four. Gables. Let's get into some of our honorable mentions, buddy. What do you got for me?
Okay, so for honorable mentions, Gravity Circuit. This was a game that I played on the PS5 and stuff during like Extra Life and stuff. It's more akin to like a like homage to say like the Mega Man X and stuff. You control like a little robot and stuff. You have to you basically are trying to rescue this city, but you have to defeat these derelict robots and stuff and inherit their powers and do all this stuff. The gameplay was fine. A lot of the aspects of the game itself, was like kind of more traditional in terms of some platformer styles and stuff, but it had some fun gimmicks. There were some boss battles that were fun. There was one robot that had like a lot of like music elements to her stage. So trying to navigate around here and try to navigate like the hard sections of the stage and stuff without dying and stuff was interesting. But okay, so other than that though, there definitely is a couple other honorable mentions and stuff of games that I had played this year. Obviously, playing Cocoon and stuff on Game Pass, that was a pretty fun experience too. For the short time I did have a chance to play it and stuff. I mean, the puzzles, like you were saying before in the last episode and stuff like that, they're pretty cool. The aspects of like taking one world into the other world into another world and stuff, that was actually pretty much mind blowing because all these mechanics are not explained to you. You had to go through and like do all this other type of like figuring things out in order to make things work as you go. Um, let's see. Trying to think of other types. I think I'll do like one more honorable mention. Um, trying to think of what other game. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just trying to get this all kind of set up right here because I know there was another game I wanted to talk about though. Well, this may not be an honorable mention, but it's going to be a dishonorable
Oh
mention.
Jesus,
This is going to be a dishonorable mention, and I'm talking about Destiny
I knew it
2
was coming. I knew it as soon as you said dishonorable.
Lightfall.
Yeah.
Dude, for as much fun as we had this year playing through certain games and stuff, yeah, there were certain aspects of games that were disappointing, and there were full on games that were absolutely terrible, like Kong and like friggin' like Golem and stuff like that, Redfall and stuff. Playing through Destiny 2 Lightfall, a game that had a lot of hype surrounding it because it was supposed to be like one of the final like DLCs in terms of this specific story arc or something for Destiny 2, and then pretty much given a side story with terrible characters, with hardly anything interesting in terms of an like a post expansion sort of like content to it, and then expecting you to not only had spent close to 50 or almost $100 for some people in order for this expansion, in order to get the full on just, because this is how Bungie does, you pay for the expansion as well as like 3 or 5 different seasons and stuff, and that's how they justify this $100 price tag. The core experience of it was basically a gigantic tutorial level for the ability Strand. And let me tell you something, Strand was definitely fun to use. Not gonna lie about that. But this expansion was so polarizing to me. I played the least amount of Destiny 2, and it's the least amount of Destiny 2 that I've had over the past like 5 years. I only played it for about 16 hours, right? And that was basically going through the expansion, played a couple different maps with my friends and stuff, and I was burnt out. I was just like, no, no, I'm not going back to this. But barring what the final shape does for the next year and stuff, and especially with all of Bungie's like woes and stuff, like a potential maybe a Sony takeover if they are not performing as well as they should, it's going to be a pivotal year coming up here for not just Bungie as a studio, but like for Destiny 2 as a game as well. And I'll tell you what, they would not be really much in this position if they had actually if their higher ups actually let the developers go with the initial fixes that players were requesting and not just subtly just a bait and switch in terms of a DLC content, expansion content like Lightfall. But yeah, that's two mentions, like two honorable mentions, one dishonorable mention. All right, Tyler, what were your honorable mentions? Hmm. Yeah. Huh. Wow. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Mhm. Third most played. Mm-hmm. All right. So number 3 is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Oh boy. Okay. You mean 2 and 1? I understand. But dude, man, Tears of the Kingdom is a fucking excellent game, dude. Just the way you're able to go through and solve different puzzles in terms like with the little friggin' dungeons and stuff like that, using the ultra hand things to craft almost any freaking thing you pretty much desire, just to go forth and try to solve tasks, making hovercrafts, making damn vehicles, making friggin' like just crazy ass shit and stuff, and then just exploring everything and stuff. I mean, granted, it's like a lot of the stuff that you're doing is kind of like mostly the same of what you would have done in like a Breath of the Wild, but yet I did like a lot of what I did have a chance to play of this game. I mean, I spent a good solid, like close to about 30 hours playing Tears of the Kingdom. Definitely not a lot in terms of like how most people had experienced that game. Obviously, of like 100 plus hours here and there and stuff. But yeah, for the experience I did have a chance to go forth and enjoy. It's like this game is absolutely phenomenal. The gameplay is still great. Exploring the dungeons, doing all the different tasks and stuff, meeting the characters and stuff. The freaking boss battles in this game could be freaking epic. I mean, hell, earlier on this year we were talking about how you were going through like the first initial boss dungeon and stuff like that, and you had like an entirely different experience fighting this boss than I did, right? To where I was basically using like the barrels and stuff trying to replenish magic and stuff, and I was actually going into the sky and stuff and just trying to shoot the monster from there. And then I just basically used like a more kind of aggressive sort of approach where you use more like a methodical sort of
I
a
would say mine's more aggressive, like literally diving
yeah.
through the enemy.
Yeah, you were diving through the enemy, and here I am, like I literally just went through, just wrote the things and start shooting things at the enemy so I could do that running on a magic, having epic moments like that. And that's just the thing, though. You were touching upon like a game earlier and stuff that was just like from moment to moment and stuff. This is definitely one of those games where it does have those good set piece moments to where, on one hand, you're riding across like the landscape, right? And you come across a group of like Bokoblin and stuff that have their various tribes and they're having all these different types of stuff. You can go forth, you have the option, you can go forth and raid them to get all sorts of their stuff, or you can go and like just do something entirely different, like say battling the like this giant like moblin like creature out of the Hukoblin or something like that it's called. And it's like this big old fat like friggin' oh enemy and stuff to where if you do beat him, he gives out some like good loot. And you can use that to go and like craft different types of weapons. And you know what? Even though that these weapons do break, the ones you go and like do and stuff, I love the idea of fusing certain weapons together and try to create what other types of stuff you can get into. Like you say, you can create your own like beam weapons and stuff with like freaking rocks and like all this other shit. But I will say though, it's like from uncovering certain bits of the lore, from covering certain bits of the stuff. I mean, this game is definitely more of Breath of the Wild in some aspects, and even more. There's definitely a lot more options, a lot more things that are better than core aspects of like Breath of the Wild and stuff. But man, this game definitely did a great job in terms of being a fantastic Zelda game. So with that, I feel like from the experience that I did have with it, there are a couple other games I did have a lot more fun with. And it's hard for me to admit that, but at the same time, as much as I love playing Legend of Zelda games and stuff, and how strong this year was with game releases, there were two other games that brought my interest and like legitimately had me going through and enjoying every single bit of this game, even more so than Tears of the Kingdom, which is fucking crazy to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number three.
All right. Well, my number three is a game that I played more than any other game this year, not named Madden.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
God damn it. Final Fantasy 16.
Damn.
Yeah, oh man, I absolutely, god damn this goddamn game. What a fucking video game, Gables. When
Hmm.
people ask what a video game is, just I want to just shove fucking Final Fantasy 16 in their fucking face. This is a fucking video game right here. This is a video game ass video game. This game fucking rules. This game is the hypest fucking shit I've ever played in my entire life. I love this goddamn game. Uh, I, where do I begin? I am someone that does not never been a huge Final Fantasy fan. Until really seven, kind of like Final Seven remake, jumped into it, and I've since then I've played now 16 and Strangers of Paradise last year. Uh, but I'm not a huge high fantasy person. Like that doesn't really click for me. Like there are obviously exceptions to the rules, like Dragon Age, Lord of the Rings, the movies, stuff like that, like Game of Thrones. But man, it's like definitely speaking of Game of Thrones, they said that they were inspired by Game of Thrones. I could fucking tell. But there was so much there's so much shit I loved about this game. I have a lot of problems with this game, but there's so much I loved about it. Like
Mm.
I love like this whole world, this whole idea is so cool to me of like there's the magic in the world of like, hey, the people that use magic or normally in like other games, like they're kind of looked at as like evil sorcerers, or they're looked at as like kind of better than most people, the common people. And it's like if you are someone that uses magic, like or he has magic abilities, like you have a tattoo on your face called branded, and you're like basically like less than. You're fucking scum. You're basically slaves. You're the front line in army in like of our armies. And this idea of like every like kingdom, like the basically like the royal person there is like a descendant of an icon, and they have the ability to turn into like these icons. And I love this whole story, this whole world they built up, and like it sucked that like about 2/3, like there's like this brewing bigger thing going on in behind the scenes, and about 2/3 of the way through it becomes that thing. And it's like I would love a whole game if they redid Final Fantasy 16 and took away like the whole like the story with Ultima and just made it about the battles going on in these kingdoms with these people and this world of branded, like because they'd spend a lot of time with it, and I love that shit. That was the best part of this game. And it's like that was the only thing. That was my one major complaint. I was like of like that story was like, man, there's so much more you could hear, especially in Jill. They could have done a better job with Jill, but that's a story for another day. But the people you join along the way, like you have like brother, you have your sweet baby boy Torgal, a little puppy dog. I love that little fucker so much. You have like your brother Joshua, Jill, like the other characters you meet along the way. I don't want to spoil too much more about people about stuff that goes on in this game, but um, I just blown away by like some of the characters. The voice acting is peak voice acting in video games. Here, I just love them. Ben Starr as Clive. Open up my heart, my mind, and my butthole for him. I love this guy so much. I love what he did with Clive. Man, what a fucking banger ass job for voice acting this year. I didn't play Baldur's Gate 3, to be fair, but yeah. Anyways, um, just and like the combat is phenomenal. The sound, the music. Oh my god, the music Gables in this is amazing. The way like it crescendos at the perfect time. Like everything in this game, like you can have complaints and some small issues with like stuff throughout the game, but everything builds and everything is the most important parts about this game is the boss fights. And every fucking boss fight is completely different from the last of just how they build and where they go. And there's phases and they're long as hell and they're epic and they do not disappoint and they look and they feel expensive as fucking hell. I'm like, how do games look this fucking good? It shouldn't. It doesn't feel legal that games look and sound and are just play this well. Like the fight with the battle with Titan is like turns into almost like a like 3D Sonic fight. Like I'm like what is happening here? Like the music itself feels like a really bad Sonic like rock song. One like this is totally different from anything I've ever played before. The fight with Bahamut,
Bahamut.
Bahamut, whatever. That fight, I talk about. I'm talking about all year that there's a moment in this game where I was so hyped up, I started crying because it was just the music, the visuals, what happened in the story, where the story built to this moment happening with that fight with Bahamut was fucking awesome. And where it goes, literally where it goes, is what? Like I can't believe it. It's so good. I love so much. Like this is like this is so much my shit. This is everything I want in a video game as far as like it's just big, bombastic boss fights, great characters, a really good story that could have been fucking phenomenal with just a few tweaks here and there and just cut out the goddamn Ultimate bullshit. Um, but man, I got and like getting through the hurdle of it being a regular Final Fantasy game and like going back to the high fantasy stuff for that. Just getting past that hurdle for me is like one thing, and just going through it and beyond it and just blowing through that, and it's like I can't, man, I'm just stunned. Like my only complaints is just like I didn't care for like where the main story went, and it's like I wish we would have done a better job with some of the side stories. It just felt like sometimes some of these side stories were just like some of the side missions were just there to pad out the time. It's like this game was like I did like almost, there's nearly 80 there's like over 60 story missions. There's nearly 80 side missions. There's like 32 bounties. There's a bunch of other shit too that I didn't do, but I did all the bounties. I did all the side missions. I did all the main stories, Gables, and it's like man, like I love the bounties. I loved all the main stories. But like so many of those fucking side missions were just bullshit. I did not like. I would say like half or more were just like, just walk to this person, talk to this person, kill these 5 things, go walk back to that person. Cool, I killed these 5. Here you go. Here's some money. Thank you. Cool. But then there's like the other ones that are just like multiple hour, totally like why isn't this main story shit? Like this is better. Like all the characters you meet along the way, all the like the side character, like the main side, I guess,
Right.
the more important side characters of the game, like all their like some of their best shit is in these side stories, and like the way they're like and the way their stories wrap up and end are tied to these stories. And like and they're phenomenal and they're so good and they treat them with so much respect. But then there's like these like 50 other side missions that are like these suck. I don't want to do these. I don't give a fuck about your frying pan. But like man, man, this game is so fucking good. It's so goddamn good. It sucks. It's 3. Yeah. Whoo boy. God, what a year, Gables. 2023. What a
No,
fucking
no
year.
shit.
Anyways, number 2, Gables. Give it to me.
Super Mario Wonder.
Oh, what the fuck is 1? What is 1? I'm so
Oh
confused.
my god, dude. Yeah, Super Mario Wonder. Super Mario Wonder to me was one of the best 2D Mario games. And the reason why I say that is because the amount of creativity that was put inside of each level, the core gimmicks of each stage, it felt truly different than the next level that preceded it. It felt very cohesive. It was solid all the way through. The different powers, the different types of gimmicks you were going through, like say going over the foreground, background, in terms of like trying to navigate through stages and stuff. The whole freaking Wonder Flower aspect to where all this other like freaking crap would happen. Like say you have these like herd of like buffalo or something like that just running through and they had to ride them up to the sky and stuff in order to get to the next area and stuff and try to collect everything. Oh my gosh, like the whole battles and stuff with Bowser Jr. as he has that freaking gas or something like that that just changes him and stuff, then gets the power from that, and you have to try to do the creative, just try to like bypass like his stages and stuff, and then oh my god, that end battle with Bowser, that final thing with Bowser and stuff. I mean, there were aspects of this game leading up to there where it's like, okay, this is fine, this is a bit easy and stuff. And then you come across some of the levels that when you go across the 4 or 5 stars or something like that, these will actually challenge you to the point to where, hey, this actually feels pretty cool to try to figure out how the hell do I pass this stage? You know, I had a couple of those moments too. And what's really more fun about this and stuff, I didn't completely unlock everything inside of like Super Mario Wonder, but yet the fact that there are still even more harder levels inside that game that I still hadn't experienced it, even though I beat the core game, I got through and I collected all the different type of collectibles inside of those stages in the main worlds, and yet I'm still propelled to want to play more of it because there is other aspects that it has its own various like Star World, kind of like what Super Mario World had back in the day, right? And quite honestly, this is one of those times again to where we had a major Mario game release, a major Zelda game release, and this is almost like say 2017, like 2016, 2017
2017.
again. It feels like 2017 again to where I have the Mario game ranked higher than the Zelda game because Mario Odyssey was like my number one game of that year, and then
Correct.
Tears of the
Yes.
Kingdom was like what two, number three, or something along that lines. And then here we go. We have Super Mario Wonder, one of the best 2D Mario games. It's in that conversation, in my opinion, like in the top five. But this I felt was better, and I had much more enjoyment out of this instead of like Tears of the Kingdom, is because this is something that introduced me to gaming as a whole, the Mario Brothers series, right? But yet it felt so fresh. It felt like I was playing like those same Mario games from way back when, only in an entirely different coat of paint, more modernized, obviously. What really impressed me though is this is one of the this is one of the few games where you can actually play with people like say so your friends list and stuff like that on Nintendo Switch Online, and there wasn't hardly any issue with it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense how well the online worked.
Yeah, exactly the point. I mean, there was a time where you were doing your own thing, I was doing my own thing and stuff. You were still in my world, and yet there was no hiccups, there was no drops, there was no Freddy like crazy stuff. It worked seamlessly without it being like any type of major issues with it. And that's just the thing, man. I mean, with the stages, with the major like the power ups and stuff, the whole elephant power up where you could just go through, just get a whole bunch of water and stuff, just spray water enemies and like like use your weight to solve different puzzles, and even like going to different stages and stuff where you have to find all the wonder seeds stuff in order to collect that one. And some of the puzzles were kind of hard to try to figure out at first and stuff, which required me I had to actually look up a few like solutions on YouTube just to make sure it's like, am I doing this right? But it literally gave me a good challenge from a Mario game. You know, that's the same feeling I had when I played through the original trilogy for the first time and Mario World, to where the first time you play through them, if you've never like played those type of games before, they are hard at first, but yet they're easy to understand and you can learn from your mistakes in order to progress further into it. So with that, Super Mario Wonder is my number 2 game of the year.
Okay. And to answer your question about 2017, you had Breath of the Wild as number two and Mario Odyssey as
Okay.
number one. So yes.
Okay.
Um, but Gables, speaking
Yeah.
of my number two, it's my second most played game of the year. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Uh,
Oh, there you go.
yeah, baby. Yeah, here we go, baby. Man, woo, baby. Speaking of what a video game, what a fucking video game.
No
So
shit.
I'm someone that came away like, um, I liked, uh, Breath of the Wild. I had number seven in my game of the year list that year in 2017. I did not feel the feelings that people felt, uh, at all that back then. Like I enjoyed it. I see what people liked about it. It just didn't click for me. And to me, like this fixed like pretty much every issue I had with Breath of the Wild. Where like I felt like a lot of Breath of the Wild was like really was like people like just go find your like basically go find your fun, make your fun. And I never really found my fun so much. Like I enjoyed like the shrines, I enjoyed like stuff like that, but like I didn't like it didn't click for me the way that like a lot of people did. Like spending hundreds of hours in this thing and want to do everything. Like it just didn't like I wouldn't. I did. I put my 45 hours into it. I got the Master Sword. I beat the Divine Beast. I beat the game. I saved Princess Zelda. I moved on. And this like, man, they just they like, oh, you don't like degradable weapons? Cool. Here's Fuse. You hate climbing and running out of stamina and falling down, or hey, you're halfway up this mountain and it just starts raining now, so you're gonna fall. Go fuck yourself. Like, hey, here's Ascend. Gable's also my favorite moment of the year is the 3,000 times I got stuck on something and remembered I had Ascend. Like that was like that was
That's
I'm like,
me
oh yeah,
too.
Ascend exists. Um,
Oh yeah, I
but
can just
also like, hey, here's some new
super.
abilities. Like you can build things together. You can fuse these things. You can build these crazy fucking things. But hey, if you don't love doing that, here's auto build for you. Or hey, you fuck something up. Here's recall. Boom. Here, like they found a way to fix all of the pain points that like I thought that I had that I felt in the first game, and then they made a bunch of other new systems and they built ways to fix the pain points for people like me that would have pain points.
Yes.
And I just had so much fun. Like I talk about a bunch where like I put over 40 hours in this game before I started the main story. Like I literally I got the paraglider and then I just went on my way for like 35 hours after that and just I found I like I'm like I'm not someone I just like I'm just gonna wander around and just fuck around for hours on end. Like I have a
Hmm.
mission in mind, like the way my brain works. I need to have like a thing I'm going for. I have an end goal here, and like I was like, all right, cool. I just walked the entire world. I'm gonna find I'm gonna get every tower. Like cool. Did like I walked every single one, did all of those, didn't fast
Hmm.
travel, and then I did all those. And along the way, I found a couple of the tiers that like unlock some of the story missions or the
Yep.
cutscenes that explain like what happened in the long ago. And I'm like, cool. I'm gonna just do all those, and then I walked to all those. The one thing I did do is because like I found one of the last ones, like the third or fourth one in. I found one of the last ones, so I looked up the guide to like find them in order, and that was the one thing I looked up. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I just walked across the map and did all of those things, and
Oh
like I
wow.
just and I, that but like that was where I made my path along the way. Where like cool, I'm like I'm wandering. Okay, I'm going here. Put a little pin drop, walk to that thing, and then I might spend the thing might take me 20 minutes to walk to. It might take me 6 hours to get there because I'm gonna fucking. There's like, oh, there's a shrine over there. Oh, what's this three-headed dragon over here? I'm gonna fuck. Oh, fuck. Okay, that one hit killed me. That was stupid. Or I hit him with an arrow and it took out like a tenth of a percent of fucking damage off of his goddamn ridiculous fucking health bar. Um, are just like this like finding this like group of people that like this banded band and like finding them along the way and like bringing them back together and at the end just crying because they play the theme song to Wind Waker. It was fucking brilliant. Um,
Oh
just getting
yes.
into fights with fucking random enemies and like one point like the enemies just like they're all like they're chasing me on horseback and they run into each other and knock each other down. It's just like it's like this game is just it's like I found I found my fun in this game and it's just like I made my mission and I just what happened to me along the way is what happened to me along the way and I just had so much fucking fun in this game and like on top of that like the story missions in this game are great too because like to me like Breath of the Wild like I think a lot of people those stories the divine beasts were probably the worst part of that game like they were just I didn't think they were good I enjoyed some of the story stuff to it but like I did not the divine beasts were not fun to play through the boss fights were kind of bad but this like I enjoyed all the boss the Colgera boss fight is awesome when he shoots through and like they start playing it's the first boss from Wind Waker it's like a
Hooktail.
what
Not Hooktail. No, Goma.
Go, yeah, but
I
it's
think one of the first boss battles in Wind
in the
Waker, I think it's
volcano.
Goma.
In the,
In the volcano.
yeah.
That I think that's Goma, I think.
Okay, so you fight, but like the song they play is like a redone version of that song
Oh
in
wow.
that fight, and I was like, I lost it. Like my eyes were watering. I'm like, oh my god, like I love this. And like you said, like having like on the podcast talking about that boss fight and realizing we did it in different ways, and you not
Yes.
knowing like I'm like, wait, you shot it with arrows, and I'm like, I just dove through it. I just dove through him and broke them. And like I remember like going to my best friend Justin's brother was in a band, went to his concert, and like talking to people. Like it was right after Breath of the Wild came out, and or but Tears of the Kingdom came out, and it'd been a few weeks, and just us talk like me and a couple other people like we were all just sat there and like talked about that game for like over an hour about like all the shit we've done and like all the like different ways we did shit and like wait you can do this like what you can do that and, like just like it was so great like having those moments and like man it's just like talk about like I so badly wanted to have that feeling that people felt playing Breath of the Wild, and I felt it here, and like I adored it. I loved it. The fucking final once you go to like the point of no return part and get in there, oh my god, it's so good. And then the whole final boss fight section, especially the very last bit, is fucking awesome. It is my favorite boss fight of the year. Is that final section of and like what happens after that boss fight, like I just go back and I just watch that moment again on YouTube constantly because it's just so fucking good. The music, the swell. Like I am someone like like hey, I love music. No shit, everybody loves music, but I love in music and the way video games, the way it's designed, the way it's put in with like the way everything it just goes together with the characters, the moment, everything that's happening, and the way it's built up. Like I am a sucker for that. I am it hits me. I'm a bit of a crier, and I man that part just hits me right in the feels every single time. Just the what happens, what it leads to, and what that song means is so goddamn good. And like man, like oh, uh, brilliant. I fucking yeah, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. One of the most polished games I've ever played too, ever made, and it's on the fucking Switch of all things. One of the most like rough running consoles the last couple of years, and have a game this massive, one of the biggest games ever made on that hardware is just it's amazing. Like that, studies need to be done on how they did it. But yeah, my number two, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. All right, Gables, this is it. I've been racking my brain trying to figure it out. It's probably gonna be something like totally obvious that I totally missed. But Gables, tell me your number one.
My number one game of 2023 is Street Fighter 6.
Oh fuck, I'm an idiot. Wow, I totally forgot about this one. Yeah, okay.
Well, what's kind of funny is I that you kind of didn't figure it out sooner because when we shared to each other like the games and stuff that we had been playing the most and stuff like that,
Yeah,
that was the game I played the most in the PS5 and for good reason too. I spent over 60 hours playing this game across the single player, across online. this game is quintessentially one of the best Street Fighter games and one of the best fighting games I've ever played. This is so freaking crazy though, because this is the first time inside the series where they actually had like an open world sort of like aspect. You take your character, go through different portions of like Metro City and stuff, and like different portions around the world where you have to basically go through, meet different fighters, unlock different like costumes based upon different favors and all this other stuff. I love the improvements they've made with this game over Street Fighter V. I didn't have a chance to play Street Fighter V up until the actual fixes and everything else because that game was so rough at launch. There was hardly anything like a big single player content in that game. But comparing that to Street Fighter 6, from the get-go, you had so much stuff you can get a dive into. That big old meaty like 40-hour like single player like experience that I went through, and on top of that, battling against other people with your creative character online, the battle hub stuff was so freaking funny because you were taking like different monstrosities that you're like these monstrous like freaking fighters and stuff, and you're using like different types of moves and stuff from like pre-established characters. Like that game that game Street Fighter 6, the single player mode, you get to use certain moves and stuff from like the other fighters, right? You add it onto your move set and then you just try to work things and try to experiment with things. And that was some of the most frustrating, also some of the more rewarding things about this battle thing with like the creative characters in the battle hub is you would have all these different like random ass characters and stuff that you would try to beat. Like some people like just created like different characters, so like with Goku from like Dragon Ball, or they created like these like weird old monstrosities with these big old heads and stuff like that, and like small arms and like freaking like just make it look like some crazy thing. And my creative character was kind of like that too, to where he had these this big round head, right? He had like these green like yellowish green eyes and stuff. He had a goatee, and then like his arms were like small and stuff like that. And his legs were like kind of like big, elongated and shit. But oh my god, just playing the online for that was pretty fun, pretty funny. What was also fun was learning different characters like move sets, like how they played. Like another thing I could can attribute to Street Fighter 6 is it really doesn't really force you, but it introduces you to play other fighters' play styles without having to go individually inside of the arcade mode and play with each character each time to try to earn experience, or go to the training mode and try to figure out, okay, what are the bread and butter moves of say like Cammy or something, so where I can go through, try a couple different moves, try to time the certain special after a certain combo string or whatsoever. But inside the single player mode, because you basically use like the other fighters as like sort of like your mentors and stuff, you gain their move sets, you get to battle with their styles, and that I thought was great in terms of introducing someone new into this series, because all the different fighters have different types of ways that they use their moves where they when they go through and like to establish themselves and stuff, what they're pretty much known for. Like you have the Shoto fighters that like with Ryu and Ken, they're like Ryu's more like a balanced character, Ken's more of like a hyper like attack sort of fighter. Or if you want something like a charge character stuff, let's say like Guile or Blanco or Honda or something, you have that. Or if you have something like something like anti-air, like an anti-Shoto or something like that, you go with like let's say with Cammy or with certain like Chun Li or like whatever. But playing against other fighters online through like the ranking mode and stuff, that could be some of the most craziest, most rewarding things you could possibly do in this game. I took my Ryu that I was playing and stuff. I won a couple different matches, and the best part about these matches, you don't have to rematch the same person over and over and over again, right? It caps with like how many matches, like how it would like say in a professional tournament style, to where it's the best of like 3 sets, but essentially if you choose to. So you can go forth and do like the entire like round of one match, and then you have maximum of like 3 matches in a row before you go on to the next person. It's not like stuck with one person or something like that with like bad internet, or like them being angry because you beat them and stuff. They want to fight you over and over and over again. But the new characters inside Street Fighter 6 are pretty fun to play. Like Marissa and stuff, JP, he was kind of fun. He's kind of like that tricky character and stuff that kind of like he feels sort of like a replacement for like Bison in regards to that sort of aspects. I mean, thinking about Kimberly, she's super quick and stuff. She has that sort of like style and stuff to where it's like a bunch of different fighting styles. But other than that, though, there's so much variety, so much different things to do inside this game. To where this is my number one game of 2023.
Sorry about that. Gills has a visitor. Oh, sorry. We'll be back. Oh, Gables had to walk away here, so we'll be back in a moment. I guess I'm going to kill time here. I don't know how to kill time in a game of the year podcast. Usually, we just kind of go. I don't know what happened. I'm excited for 2024 though. I don't know how long it's gonna go for. I don't know how much time I'm gonna kill here. So I'm excited for 2024 though. I mean, we do have a good chunk of games here. We got Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, baby. Let's go. Um, I wonder if we do. I wonder if we're gonna Switch 2 announcement anytime soon. These things to think about. Like, all right, Christmas is over. We have like a they're gonna announce it in January, or are they gonna wait? I don't know. It's very weird. Oh, we are an uh, okay, he's back. Cool. I'm. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm too sick to kill time. All right, let's go.
But like I was saying, man, Street Fighter 6, it's it's my absolute number one favorite game of this past year. The amount of fun I have playing online, the amount of creativity of using each characters in different styles and stuff. Just the replay factor is off the charts. And quite honestly, if you love fighting games, this is a must play. Whether or not it's on PS4, Xbox, on Steam, give it a shot. This definitely has a great lasting appeal to it. I know I haven't had a chance to try out the other characters that have come out for the character passes, like Rashid, the returning classic character from like Street Fighter Five, or like one of the newer, like one of the newer. Oh God, Aki, that's her name. The new one of the newest characters, Aki and stuff with her move sets. But if you want to burn some time between now and Tekken 8, when that eventually comes out,
Got a month.
yeah, by all means, give that game a shot. It's one of the best fighting games.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Well, Gables. Without further ado,
Mm-hmm.
my number one game of 2023 in a year of the probably the greatest year of all time in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
There's little nitpicks here and there on every game that I have, except for one. There's only one perfect game in the year 2023, and that's a game we didn't know existed until literally the day it was out. Hi-Fi Rush. Holy shit! Now this is a goddamn game. This is what gaming is right here. This is a game that, like, to me, that it feels like it's plucked from a different era. Like, this is like a game that
Mm-hmm.
if you had told me this is a remake of a PS2 GameCube era game, I would have believed you because that's what it feels like. I can't. This is a game that should not exist, especially from a studio that like Bethesda, like the people from Tango, the people that make Evil Within made this game. The guy that made Evil Within, that directed Evil Within 2, followed it up with this game, and it's insane to me that like the jump from Evil Within 1 to Ghostwire Tokyo to this and Hi-Fi Rush, and the fact it's so different, but it's also so good. Like the combat, the characters, the levels, the boss fights, the art style, the music, the fucking music, the comedy. It all just comes together in this perfect melting pot, and it's perfect. Everything is so good. The combat is awesome. It's so I am not somebody that loves like these like hack and slash style like Devil May Cry or like even like the platinum games like Bayonetta 2 click for me, but that's kind of it for me. It's like Bayonetta 2 like those style games and like this clicked. I have no rhythm. Gables, I've said this for years, and I don't think no one understood it until Gables and I played Mario Wonder, and he watched me fail miserably at that one rhythm level where I just couldn't jump to the beat of a drum for like a solid 2 minutes. He's like, he jumped down. I was like, just do this, just jump, just do this. And I'm like, Gables, I can't do it. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I'm like, I legitimately, I have zero rhythm. It makes no sense to me. It will never make sense to me. But this game doesn't care. Like it doesn't make the game harder or more difficult. It doesn't
Right.
make the game easier if you're good at. Well, make it easier, I guess, because you can block. But it doesn't like you can get through this game like me with zero rhythm. The only thing it really affects is your score. And like if you care about your score and getting like all S's and A's, then like hey, there's that for you. But man, like if you just want to like play through a fun, just to have a great fucking time, this is the game for you, man. Like the all the characters you meet, like Chai just being the lovable doofus that like ego like thinks way too highly of himself, but is also like this lovable, charming dude at the same time. Peppermint and Corsica, 808, all the other characters you meet along the way are great. There's this the last like from like the last like three levels
Mm.
are is just everything I love about gaming. Of a great the third level or the second the third to last level, um, second to last level I guess I don't fucking know. Anyways, that boss the second the last boss fight just is out of this world like amazing, and then the second to last level like where like everybody just comes together with the song that I never heard before. The band is called Joy Formidable,
Mm.
and the song is called Whirring, and like it's like this cutscene and this whole last like section like rush before you get to the last boss is my moment of the year. I love that whole scene, this whole cutscene, the way it flows with the music. Like it's all about like you look at hey I talk about I love music. I love the way it all works together. You look at my top three games of the year. What are the three best things about it? It's boss fights, it's music, it's characters, and the way they all come together. And that is Tyler Bate for you right there. I am all in when you have those things, and I just fucking love those parts of this game. I started like I was like making my lists, and I was like, man, is Hi-Fi Rush really my game of the year? Because I was going in with Zelda. I'm like, it's Zelda like in my head. But then when I started writing shit down, I started working on it. I'm like, it can't be. And I started replaying Hi-Fi Rush earlier last week, and I was just like, and I played Final Fantasy 16 yeah, like a few weeks ago when the DLC came out, and I was like, so I got a pretty good fresh idea about all these games in my mind, and I started replaying. I'm like, no, this is it. This is like the way the whole like just the way everything works, where like the whole world moves to the rhythm of the music.
Mm.
Like the way your Chai moves, the steps he takes, the things bouncing around the world to you. Your little cat buddy 808 was literally a metronome. Like the music in the cutscenes, like the shots fired, everything just goes with the music, and it's fucking brilliant. I cannot believe how great everything just works together. It blows my goddamn mind of like how this works and how they did it. That this team did this, and the fact that this game just came out. It just was just shadow dropped, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and people were like, "Ooh, the only people like this game is because it is a shadow drop." I don't know, maybe, but you know what matters? The game's still gotta fucking be good, and it's fucking good. It's the best goddamn game of 2023. Fucking Hi-Fi Rush. Play that game. If you have Game Pass, if you don't have Game Pass, what the fuck are you doing? And if you do have Game Pass, play Hi-Fi Rush. If you already played Hi-Fi Rush, play it the fuck again. It is Scott Pilgrim, the video game that I've always wanted. It's here for you. Fuck yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, game of the year. Suck it. That's it. That's all I have. But wow. Okay, I think we're really done, Gables. I have no way to
Yes.
follow up. We are actually done with our top 10 games of 2023. Man, it's like I look forward to it all year round, and it's just like it feels like it comes and goes in like a boom, like a blink of the eye. Uh, but wow, holy shit. All right, well, before we get out of here, I'm just gonna run through our list real fast again. Gables, you're 10 through one here. Gables Advance Wars Reboot Camp number 9, AEW Fight Forever. Number 8, Pokemon Scarlet Violet DLC Teal Mask and Indigo Disc. Number
Mm.
7, F-Zero 99. Number 6, Resident Evil 4 Remake. Number 5, Mario RGP, according to my book, and that's how it's going to stay. Number 4, Metroid Prime Remastered. Number 3, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Number 2, Super Mario Wonder. Number 1, Street Fighter 6. My 10 through 1 here. Number 10, Cocoon. Number 9, Dead Space Remake. Number 8, Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Number 7, Alan Wake 2. Number 6, Spider-Man 2. Number 5, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Number 4, Resident Evil 4 remake. Number 3, Final Fantasy 16. Number 2, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Number 1, Hi-Fi Rush. Uh,
Damn.
so that will make Gables. We only had 2 games in common on our list. We had
Yes.
Resident Evil 4. You had it at number 6. I had it at number 4. And Tears of the Kingdom. You had it at 3. I had it at 2. That makes Zelda Tears of the Kingdom our 2023 Game of the Year. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, makes fucking sense. Great game. So yeah, if you got like all that, please, if you want to hear more of our thoughts throughout the year, and also all the news and everything goes on throughout the year, please like, follow, subscribe, check us out, 5-star reviews, leave comments, share with your friends, tell your friends, whatever podcast service you listen on, we're on there. Like I said, like, follow, subscribe, give us 5-star reviews, share with your friends, tell your friends, and more importantly, if you can go to YouTube and like, follow, subscribe, there's our links to in the show notes below with links to all of our social services that we're on, like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, podcast services, everything that we're on. Please go there and check us out. My voice is finally going. Uh, Nearly 4 hours later. But thank you guys for listening. Uh, I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, Happy New Year.
And hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet, baby.
See you sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.